So now, again, this is the most important part. So in the version that I've already completed, so here you have data binding repeater, and it's set to be hidden. Okay, so before I'll talk about it, let's just copy it and paste it inside the section. So I'm on this section and I will click paste, and it's right there. Okay, so let's select a single item and add a color to it. Okay, and we can even make it much bigger, and I'll make the repeater wider. Okay, so this repeater will be connected to our CMS. Okay, so our collection is the feed. So just to see that we are populating data, I'll delete all the items and keep only one. Okay, so let's select the repeater and connect it to dataset. Right now I don't have any dataset, so let's add and select the feed, create. So immediately you will see that I have more items, right? So it's important to set the right amount of items that I want to load at the first time, or at the first time basically. So I have here 5 items in a row, so we can just for the beginning set to be 5, at least 5, because we don't want to have an empty items. But because I want to load more than only one row, I want to have at least 2 rows of content, so I'll set it to be 10. So let's go to dataset settings and set it to be 10 items. Okay, so now I have 10 items. So now we will go to the part of actually displaying content for each of these repeater items. Okay, it's kind of tricky. Why? Because basically what we need to do, if we will go to the working example, we need to take the data from the database and divide it equally between the repeater items, because if this item 1, this cannot be item 2, right? This need to be item 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it jump back to 6, 7, 8. So you don't need actually to worry about it, because the code is already there. You just need to use it. But you do need to understand how things are working. So the idea is that instead of create a query to the database and populating the data, I am relying on the data binding from the dataset. So basically, this is a repeater that is the source of truth that I have. So this repeater will be hidden, but in practice, it will get the data, and then we will take its data and divide it equally between the repeater items. Okay, so let's see how it works. So you can see that this repeater have its own ID. Okay, it's called data binding repeater. Okay, so let's so now I'll try to do it exactly as you are going to do it. Okay, so basically, of course, I'll share with you the code. So basically, you will copy the entire code, right, and paste it in your editor. So let's try. I have some conflict because I have it open in 2 tabs. So you'll do something like this, right? So the first thing that you need to do, you need to get rid of the errors. So the first error, which is this red marks, is the feed dataset. So basically, you need to go to the page and then to your page connection, and this is the feed dataset. So let's go to dataset settings, and then you can see right here the property. I need to change its ID, so I can change from here, but I prefer to change it from here. So let's just change it to feed dataset. Okay, so one error is gone. The second one is the load more line. We won't talk about it right now, so let's just comment out the load more. Okay, so right now it won't run. We don't have any error. We'll talk about it later. Let's see. So this is observe viewport change. We will also talk about it later. So let's comment this out, so this function won't be running. And then here below we have another error. So this one is no results wrapper. Okay, so no result wrapper is, oh, I don't have it right here, but if I'll gibberish something, so this is the no results wrapper. So let's do it very, very quickly. So it's super simple. I'll do it right here, and then we will move it to our section. So basically I have a container, and then I have I'll go to embed in social, and I selected a Lottie player, Lottie animation. Okay, and I'll go to, I was going to the Lottie and searching for something cute to display, and I came up with this one, but just for now I'll do it with the default one. Okay, so basically I have a Lottie player inside my container, and the container should don't have a height. It should come from the Lottie player itself. So let's set it to be 1FR, and inside of it I have some text that says no results or something like this. Okay, you can choose your own design, choose whatever you think is cute or beautiful. It should be playful, I think. Okay, so it's something like this. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to take this container and paste it inside our section. Okay, inside our feed section. So let's, oh sorry, I did a copy again. I need to cut it and paste it right here. It should be kind of on top. Okay, you can do, I don't know, 10 VH from top, something like this, and it should be always at the center. Okay, but it should be below everything. Okay, so you can select it, arrange, send to back. Okay, and you can see that it starts to be a bit messy, you know, with all these layers, but I think you can deal with it if you give the right naming. So this will be the no results wrapper. Okay, so if you go back to our code, so basically if we are searching for something and there is no results, so we want to display this animation. Okay, so I'll take this ID that is have the identification of error, and select the no results wrapper and change its ID. Okay, and by default it should be collapsed or hidden. I don't really remember. So let's see right here. You see this is the container. I cannot even select it, so I'll go to the layers panel, and immediately I see this item, and the default is set to collapsed. So let's change it to collapsed. Okay, and we're done with it. Of course you need to adjust it to be to fit to each breakpoint, but for now I'll just skip it. Okay, all right, so we do have another error. It's called to feed section. So basically when I'm searching for something, okay, so if I scroll down and I'm searching for something, so it would expected that will be scrolled back up to see all the results, right? So if I search for 10, so I need to scroll back, right? I am not calling this function. I don't remember exactly why, but you can select the section and give it the proper ID, and then you won't have this error. Okay, so we get rid of all the main errors. We will deal later about the load more line. So now we need to understand what's going on with this repeater, right? So let's select it again, and just a second. Okay, so let's start by going from the top to bottom. Okay, so the first thing that we are doing is that init repeaters. Okay, so let's see what this function is doing. So init repeater is basically setting the event listener for each repeater, how to paste the data in the right place. So for example, if you see right here, I said the image source is equal to, if we have an image, put the image source in the image. Okay, so this is the ID of the image. So again, we should go to the first repeater. Okay, this is the first repeater, and you can see that we have an image. So if we toggle on the IDs, so you see that this image have a unique title, right? So wrap one image. So this line of code is setting the right image to this image, the right source to this image. Okay, same for the title. I have rep one title. So if I'll select the title, so I have this ID for this title. So it's always following by rep number and element. Okay, so if I'll go to the fifth, so the title will be rep 5 title. Okay, so basically it's for each repeater item. I have this, I'm setting the event listener. What's happened basically when you get a new data. Okay, so this is the idea of setting repeaters. But at the beginning of this function, we have the repeater amounts. It jumps to here, the repeater amounts. So before we are starting to put the data for each repeater, we need to understand how much repeater do we need, because in desktop we have 5, and in tablet we have 3, and in mobile we have 2. Of course you can change it, but this function is setting the amount of repeater. So let's see what this function is doing, which is super simple. So we are getting the window width. Okay, first of all, get boundaries rect, and then we are getting the window width. So based on the window width, we are knowing on which breakpoint we are. So if document width is bigger than 1000 pixels, which is desktop, so we set the numbers of repeaters to 5. Okay, so if it's less than 1001 and bigger than 750, it's basically tablet, right? And the last one is of course mobile. So we set different amounts of repeater based on the breakpoint. So of course, if you choose to display 4 on your layout in desktop, you need to change it to 4. Okay, same as mobile. If you decide to put one repeater, change it to 1. And lastly, this function is returning the right amount of repeaters. So let's go back to that function. So let's go back to the beginning. Okay, so so this one is setting is basically telling the repeaters what to do when we are putting data inside each of item. Okay, and then we are selecting the data set and waiting for it to be ready, because data set is dependent on when the connection with the database is ready. So after it's ready, we are again setting actually it's not again, but setting the amount of repeaters, and then we are initting the page data. So now this function is start to handling data, how to take the data from this repeater and divide it to different items, to different repeaters. Okay, so here we have the function set repeaters data. So let's see what this function is doing. So the first things that we are doing, we are divided the data. So distribute, and actually it's not sort, it's not the right name, it's distribute data. Let's change this function name from distribute sort items to distribute data. Okay, so this function is relying of the amount of repeaters. Okay, so if we have 5 repeaters, so this is the number of arrays that we need to create. So for example, if we are in desktop, this should be 5. If we are on mobile, it should be 2. So and this is the most important part. So all data is equals to this repeater data. It looks like it's empty, but it's connected to the data set, so it's hold all the data, even though it's not represented here in the UI, but it's hold this data. So all data is equals to data binding repeater data, which is one array with many items. And no results wrapper is this container, and total results text is this text. Okay, we will use it in this function. So total items is equals to feed dataset get total count. Okay, so this is the potentially the total amount of items, and then we are checking if the total items is equals to 0, which mean there is no results. So then we are updating the total text to be no results, and then we also expanding the no results wrapper, which is this container. Okay, and then we are basically, I forgot to mention it, but we are creating sub arrays. Okay, so if this is one array of items, so if we want to take this data and divide it to 5, we need to create 5 different arrays, because each repeater needs to get array of items. So by default it's a single array, and then this array will contain the amount of arrays based on how much repeaters that we have. So if we have no results, so we simply pushing for each we pushing 5 empty arrays to this subarray. Okay, but if this is not the case and we do have results, so first of all we are collapsing the no results wrapper, and then for each so this is the most important function. Basically it's taking the all data length and divide it into equal 5 arrays, and then push it to this sub arrays array. And lastly, if the total results if the total items is bigger than 1, we are displaying the total items, total results, like in many. And if we have single results, so it's display as single results. And then we are displaying this text. Okay, and after we distribute the data, this function is returning the sub arrays, which is basically looks like this. It's array with five arrays. Okay, just like this. If it's desktop, if it's mobile, it will be 2. But if we do have items, each of these array will contain many items, and if not, it will be just empty. So what we are doing with these subarrays, so let's go back to distribute data function. We know how much repeaters do we have, so basically we are looping for each repeater, and if we have desktop, so it's 5 repeaters. So for each one of these we are putting the right data to the right divided data. Okay, so if it's repeater, if this is repeater number 0, it will take the divided data at 0 and put it in this repeater, and the repeater already know how to display this item, because we are setting right here what to do when you get a new data. Okay, so let's see if it's working. So remember, we set the default repeater to display 10 items. Okay, so potentially we should have 2 rows of data, so 2 items for each repeater. So we need to go back to the blank version and then refresh. So this is working, right? So you can see that we have this dummy repeater, but we do have 2 rows of data for each repeater. So we need to figure it out 2 things. Okay, first of all, I want to load more items as I scroll down, so this is the function for load more. And the second thing that I need to do is look what's happened when I'm changing my screen width. Okay, so right now I have 5 items. Okay, but if I'll change, if I'll go to tablet, okay, so now instead of 10 items, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. Okay, because we collapsed 2 repeaters which contain data, right? We collapsed these 2, so we only left with these 3 items. So what we need to do, we need to observe when the layout is changed. I need to fix this one. So when we change in breakpoint, basically what we need to do, we need to redistribute the items. We need to take the total amount and divide it, instead of 5 repeaters, to 3 repeater, and same for mobile. Okay, so we will see how we can do it in a second, but first I want to deal with the load more. Okay, so the way I found it's a good way to do it, maybe there is a better way, I don't know, is to use a line. Okay, to take a line and just trap it inside our section and change its ID to be load more line. Okay, but important things to do is to set it to be 100%, and let's dock it to left, but dock it to the bottom. Okay, let's give it a color so it will be very clear. We will see it very clear. So basically, why it's docked to the bottom? Because basically this section height is coming from the amount of content that we do have here. But let's make each item like much smaller. Okay, so you see the section height is coming from the content, right? It's do have minimum height, but basically if I'll have here much more content, so this line will be pushed down, right? So I want to use the on viewport enter to load more items. So I want to create some, I don't want it to go into viewport and then the layout will jump. So I want to do it a bit before. So I'll add a 10 viewport height margin, or even more, like let's do 30. Okay, so as this line is go into our viewport, it will trigger the load more. So we will see it in action in a second. So let's bring back the load more function, which is right here. And you see this ID is load more line. So you need basically to put it to this line. Later, I'll take this line and push it behind the repeaters. So you won't see it, and also it will be transparent without any fill color, so you won't see it on the design itself. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, so this is the load more line. Okay, and we have if the load more line is entered to the viewport, so just a second. Okay, so basically we are checking if the current page is smaller than the total amount of pages. Okay, so if it does, it means that we do have more items to load, right? So this is the more to load equals to current pages smaller than the total pages. So pages coming from the total amount of the default items that we want to display. So if by default I set it to 10, so next load more will be another 10. Okay, so 10 is single page. So if the total pages is smaller, if the current page is smaller than the total pages, we do have load more, and then basically we are calling load more. So we do have another variable here that is load more progress, is that we don't want to trigger a lot of load more at the same time. So we're waiting to finish one load, and then we are calling the second load more. But look what's happened right here is we are waiting to load more, and then immediately after we are loading more, we are set the repeater data. So if you remember, this function is distribute the data. So the idea is that the load more is happened on this repeater. So it means that this repeater is getting another 10 items. So we need to take these new, these total items and again distribute it between the different repeater items. So let's publish it and see if the load more is happen as we want it to be. But to be really sure, we can actually it should be visible. So let's refresh it. These items should be, you see this red line, and then it push down, and then we have much more items, right? So instead of 10, we have now 20. Okay, so you see this repeater is growing because it triggered the load more. You see, so basically it's working. So now we don't have any load more because this is the end of, this is everything we have. So to be very, very clear, we can have another section below and do something like this. So I don't need this container. I can put content right here, and same as Midjourney that said that's all what we have. We can put any content that we want, but for now let's do the end. Okay, sorry, it should be centered, max content. Okay, back to the center, and then this section should not have a minimum height. Okay, but we do want some padding, so let's do like 100 pixels. It's not best practice to use pixels, so let's convert it to percentage. Let's do it 6. What's happened here? Oh, we don't need it. Oh, I think by mistake I add a grid, which I don't need. So let's fix it quickly. Let's do 10%. It's big, I know, but just to see that we are reached to the end, and let's refresh it. You know what, we can even remove the load more line because we saw that it's working. So I'm going to change the line color to be transparent and send it to back because I don't want it to be on top of our design. So I can drag it to be the last item. This is important to give it the right name. It's load more line, maybe even triggered load more line, and then it should be at the bottom and we shouldn't see it. And we can even take this container and make it, I don't know, 50 pixels. We need to make sure it won't be bigger than the smallest screen size, and it's not really important the height of it. So we will take each item and we make it transparent. And again, this is the data binding repeater. We can send it to back because we don't really want it to be on top of our containers. Great. So now let's publish it and we should get a very clean design. And you can see it's working great. Amazing. We need to fix this one very quickly. It should be 100%. Okay, great. And now we need to deal with the resizing. Okay, so this is a trick that I found to observe viewport change. Okay, I think it's super cute solution, but let's see how it's built. So here you can see that I have a container which is pinned to the page, and it's called observe viewport change. Okay, it has vela and it's pinned, and inside of it we have 3 lines. So each line is displayed only on specific breakpoint. So this line display only on desktop. If I'll go to tablet, I have only the tablet, and same for mobile. So the idea is that this container is pinned, so it's always on the viewport. It's pinned to the page. Okay, it's pinned to the page. Okay, and so for each of these lines I have a code that says on viewport enter, do something. Okay, so if the desktop line, you can see the ID pinned SVG viewport change desktop, I think, yeah. So on viewport enter, do something. So if it's desktop, I know exactly what to do, right? I know that I have 5 repeaters. I want to distribute the data to 5. On mobile, I know it's the mobile. I need to redistribute the items for 2. So let's copy this one, okay, and paste it right here. I'll paste it right here for now, and you can see it's pinned to the page, but let's not do it pinned to the page right now. I'll just I just want to show you how it's built. Okay, so let's do it like 100 pixels on 100 pixels, and then let's take, for example, the desktop line, and let's set it to be 100%, and you can see it's transparent, but basically it's a line. Okay, if I show tablet, again, it's it's aligned with ID, okay, inside a container. Okay, so you should do the same. Take a container, put 3 lines in it, and make it small. It's important to make it small because you don't want it to take space inside your website. Okay, and then I pinned it to the page. Okay, and I did it like top left, but you should be careful if you have any interactive element right here, so put it in different position. Okay, and yeah, that's it. Basically that's it. Okay, so now it's important that you let me close it, we need more room. So we need to open now to call observe viewport change. So let's comment this, remove the comment out, and then you can see here you have 3 errors. Okay, so you need to give the right ID to the right element. So I gave very long name, right? But basically you have the mobile, tablet, and desktop lines. So in the layers panel, you need to give the right ID for each one of these. Okay, and make sure that it's located in the right place in each of the breakpoint. So look at what's happened right here. So only desktop element on viewport enter, we log the viewport, and I don't remember the first view. Oh, the first view is to let's see the redistribute data. Let's see this function, what it does. So first of all, it's clear the data. Clear the data is taking all the repeaters and make them empty. Okay, is to clear everything. So this is the first action that we are doing. The second one is we are updating the amount of repeaters, okay, based on the breakpoints. And then we are initting the repeaters, so we will loop in only for the relevant items, relevant repeaters, and then we are setting the repeater data. Okay, again distributing the data, but now if we are changed from desktop to tablet, so now the amount of repeaters will be 3, not 5. In this specific design, in your design it can be a different number. Okay, so let's see how it works in action. So if I open the console, it should set desktop because I'm on desktop, right? Maybe I need to refresh it again. Yeah, you see, desktop. Okay, so now if I'll change it to tablet, you see that we have tablet now, and I do have all the items. How can I know? Because the numbers are following. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if I'll go to mobile, oh, and another thing that you can see, the divide, I always print the divided data. So here in desktop, it's 5 arrays. Okay, it's array that contain 5 arrays, and in tablet, it's array that contain only 3 arrays. So if we'll go to mobile, we should have array that contain only 2 arrays. And this is exactly what's happened. Okay, so the reason that you see 2 of these is because the load more is triggered, so it's immediately load more items, and everything is working very, very nicely. Amazing. So here we have some minimum height that we need to get rid of, but we do see the end, so we know we are reached to the end. Oh, and see that the results is updating, so we have 39 results. Okay, so now we need basically to be able to search, right? It's working because I didn't comment it out, but let's see how it works. So inside our code we have init feed search. Okay, so what's happened here? So this is of course the search input, okay, and we are setting some debounce. 1 second, it's a lot, so maybe 500 milliseconds. So basically we don't want to execute the search immediately as I search for something, because then the data is always flickered. Okay, it's flickered, like each key that I'm pressing, I'm filtering the data. So I do want to give the person time to stop typing and only then execute the search. Okay, so this is the delay time. Okay, you can change it the way you feel. And then on input, each time basically there is a input event, new input. So we are taking the search and then we are running the search, which is this function. So here we have a global variable that is always holding the current state of what type of filtering that we have. So this is built in the way that you potentially can have here more conditions. So we have a search value, but we can do also a category, okay, which is equal to null or by default or to a specific category. So in that way you can extend the filtering options. But at this for this tutorial I was focused only for the search value, but this is should store the current state of the filtering. Okay, so let's go back to search. So basically we are setting the current search value. So if the search value length is bigger than 0, which is mean that we do have some term in the search, so we are setting it to the value itself. But if not, we are reset it to be null. And then this is the function that is important, which is build the filter for the dataset. So it's checking if we do have search value. So we're setting the filter to contain the title, which is it's the feed title. We are searching for the feed title, but potentially if you do have description or author or category or whatever, you can search for that too. And I always start to do something. Okay, so here is example of if you have a profile name, you can for example add another condition. So it's either that the title is contain the search value or the profile name is contain search value, but I do not have it in my own data set. Okay, and then after we build the filter, so we are executing the filter. So feed data set filter, which is the filter we just built. Okay, so this is an async function and we are waiting for to finish, and then we are setting the repeater data again. So here you can call this call to top back again, and then it's called, if you comment this out, remove the comment out. So you can see that as I search, it's called back up. So I do want to remove this background color from the no results and make it maybe like this. It should be max content. I don't want it to scale. Let's do it 16 pixels and 10%, maybe 20. Okay, something like this. Okay, so 39 results. So if I'll do change search for 1, so I do need to get some, right? Because I have 0, 1, and I have 11, and I have 12, 19, right? It's all include 1. So let's search for 1. So you see I have 12 results. So this is updated, which is amazing. And if I'll change my breakpoints, so I still have 12, which is great. This is misleading because it looks like we are missing items right here, but actually not, because it's turned out this way that the first item including only small images, but in practice we have do exactly the same. So here we have 4, and also here we have 4, and also here we have 4. Okay, in mobile it's look much better, but you can get a situation where it's not equal and it's not looks the best. Okay, so if I'll add another one, so now I have only one item. But if I'll add another one which I don't have, so now I have the no results. Okay, pretty cool, right? And also here it says no results. But I want to show you how it's called back up. So let's search for 38. No, not, yeah, because 38 is the last item, and if I search for it specifically, it will be the first one, so it will be located at the beginning right here. So I need to scroll back up. So 38, and then it's called back up. So it makes more sense, but the downside is that I cannot start keep searching, because it's shift the focus from the input to somewhere else. Okay, so I think that's it. This is a long one, but it took me so long to figure it out how to create this layout, and it's such an amazing layout, and the performance is amazing. I'm super surprised how the performance is working. Of course, I'll share the code with you in my own website so you can copy it. And also I would like to tell you that I submit this entire layout and code to as a template. So if they approved it, so I'll add the options to actually take it as it is, for free. All right, so it was super challenging to create it. I hope that you will succeed, replicate it. If you do, please tell me. It was super long, but let me know if you succeed. So until next time, keep building amazing sites on Wix Studio.